Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Time Wasters. Okay. Okay. Are we working?
We are working.
Okay. Okay, let's get started. Cancel culture. It fucking sucks. Let's talk about it.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah, because that's what we do in the Time Wasters after all. Could be doing much more productive things like, I don't know, finishing meek. Yeah, working. I mean, I guess I already did work today, but still.
You already worked today, I saw you.
Yeah.
Hey.
But...
Owen, every time you go onto a different screen, it stops the video.
I only have one screen.
Then what the hell are you doing?
Okay.
Alright, wait, you can sort this out. Right, you keep doing it.
Okay. Okay, so first, let's outline a few parameters of cancel culture. Let me just pull out my Google Doc very quick.
Yeah, he prepared for this. He wasted the most time on this thing.
Yep. Because that's what we do, Ryan.
Because
We waste time doing shit that we easily could have spent, doing something else. So first, let's outline a few parameters. The first part is the fucking disclaimer. Many statements made will be inherently controversial given the nature of the shit we're talking about. If you feel uncomfortable hearing them, please refrain. Refrain from watching the video and go back to your own little, I don't know, social media
Go
bubble.
to your own little private island where no one can find you and dig yourself a grave.
But in case you're not 99% of Twitter users and you're actually open to conflicting opinions to see if they will change your own, we do urge you to listen to the entirety of what we have to say before you formulate your own opinion. So, and with that out of the way...
Or, even if you click off, you're still giving us a view. So fuck you.
Thank you. Okay, so... First, let's define cancel culture. At least the way I've defined cancel culture, because I've wasted 20 minutes trying to write this definition. Cancel culture is the act of ostracizing an individual after he or she either committed or allegedly committed an act that has been deemed to be questionable, controversial, or illegal. This is usually done through the use of hashtags, targeted social media posting, and generating social media clout. The result of this is targeted individuals becoming cancelled, meaning that their credibility and subsequent livelihoods are stripped as a social consequence of their perceived actions. Jesus Christ, that sounded so gay.
Correction.
Well... you could have literally just said it's when... people don't like something someone else has done, and they or present, and they just decided, screw them, we're going to stop them from being able to do anything without being harassed.
Yeah, but keep in mind, we're talking to the Twitter mob here, Ryan. You think they'll answer layman's terms?
What do you think's gonna happen? There's gonna be the people who are actually sensible, who like the video or whatnot, and then there's gonna be the bunch of idiots who are part of this goddamn hive mind, this movement, and just decide, screw them, they don't have the same opinion as me.
Yeah,
I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah, okay, probably drank a bit too much lead. But while Ryan is gone, I'm going to use this to outline a few things we are going to talk about. So... we're going to, of course, talk about, instances of cancel culture. Okay, you're back. I was just about to say we are going... I was just saying we were going to talk about instances where cancel culture has been positive and negative, and then go a little bit more into detail about the mechanisms of cancel culture.
It's been positive? Jesus Christ!
I mean, they're rare, mind you, but they do happen.
You have a better chance of finding a needle in a goddamn haystack than you do finding a single good instance of cancel culture at this point.
Yeah, the only one I can think of is the cancellation of Minilad, so...
I don't even know who the hell that is.
Pedophile.
pedo.
So they cancelled him and not Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Pedo.
Yeah.
Prince Charles.
Basically. But yeah, but negative instances I can think of many. For example, I think there's one related to an individual called Zoe Quinn or something like that. Yeah, but yeah. It's something like that.
Zoe Quinn. Still no
Yeah.
clue who she is.
Okay. I say this as a negative because if I recall correctly, she cancelled someone to the point of suicide. So
Yeah, so does the whole cam movement, the kill all men movement. But the thing is with them, they celebrate when they kill people. Going 2 down, like 3.5 billion more to go. That is messed up, for one. For two, you've just taken 2 young men's lives. They could have, like, grown up to cure cancer or whatnot. They didn't do anything to anyone. You just did it to them. But who's to blame?
yeah.
Not the cam movement, not the internet hive mind of girls who just hate men. No, it's the men themselves because they decided to bottle up their emotions and not go to therapy. But we're supposed to be strong like men.
Can I just say something? So I think with cancel culture or in society today as a result, right, there's so many, not just women, but men as well, that because of old ideologies and old, because back in the 1800s, women had lots of female privileges, like we were forced to work.
Yeah.
While they were at home. Okay. Here's some things where people may get confused, because people may take this as a sexist, and some people may not. I'm just saying, right? Is it sexist that only men was allowed to work in the 1800s?
I mean, it was sexist then, but it's not sexist now because
sexist in certain ways. However, both had their pros and cons. Women, they didn't have to work in those goddamn factories where literally you could have rats crawling, nibbling at your feet, and you couldn't complain about it because if you did, you'd lose your job. They didn't have that. They got to stay in a house where they could decide whether it was dirty or clean, whether they could decide what they ate. They could, like, if they didn't have any kids, they literally just spent the whole time alone doing what the hell they wanted.
Yes. But it is important to consider that the modern context of gender equality in most developed societies, it's basically about as good as it gets at the moment, because, how do I say this?
Can I also state one thing? Some of them liked it. Well, most of them did. When the women were granted the vote, they voted Conservative, who wanted to keep traditional family values.
That's a bit contradictory.
I know, but no, Labour wanted equality for everyone. Conservatives wanted traditional family values. So the women who were just fighting against the Conservatives to get the vote voted for the Conservatives, even though Labour wanted them to have their vote. So then they didn't have to work.
Yeah, I mean.
So when they had a choice, it still took 10 years to move away from the traditional values.
Yeah, so
we must evaluate, right? Because back then as well, men were taught to, oh, you hurt your leg, oh, man up, right? But if a girl fell over and hurt their leg, everyone would rush over to help her.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing now. Let's just say, like, you randomly see, like, a girl slapping a guy, you'd be like, oh, he cheated on her or something, or, oh, they're going for a breakup. You have a man hit a woman, you think he's about to assault her and commit a crime that's gonna make the, Nagasaki look like a goddamn beach or something. No one in society actually cares about men's well-being.
No, they all think men have it easy. But then
Anyway, I'll go as well. My sister's chicken nuggets.
Then if you have a look at the statistics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Men's suicides make up 3 times the women's suicides. More people who have depression are men. The majority of people who are homeless are men. So all these ideals of men having it easy is completely bullshit.
Oh no, we have it harder, 100%. Let's take...
As it stands thus far, we probably have it harder.
Let's take certain things like the fact that we're supposed to... Well, just think, what are we supposed to do for them? We're supposed to, like, we used to put our take our jackets off and put it on puddles so then they didn't get wet. We used to...
Not only that, right, not in real life.
Oh, I gotta go. BRB.
Not in like, not in like movies and things like that, but cartoons have done that, portraying the ideology of men and what we should do to treat a woman right. But then you see, right, how should a woman treat a man? Who's taught them how to treat a man properly? All they've been taught is to take things.
Yeah, but here's another thing, right?
I'm not saying, right, women haven't been taught. I'm not saying
guys, I gotta go. Sorry.
I'm not saying that, but all I'm saying, I want there to be equality here. I want there to be equality for both genders, both parties. I agree with that. I want that. However, but with this whole
the modern feminist movement is anything but that. That's the problem.
That's the thing. That's what
they're actively protesting for the removal of men's rights, so that women's rights can feel more. Like, how do you say this?
Here.
Like,
search up cam movement. Yeah.
So
this is why I think.
Hold on, the funniest part was the kill all men circus. It started as a joke. It started as a joke.
Hold on, no, the guys can't see this at the moment. Give me a second. So if we have a look on here, right, CAM stands for Kill All Men. The phrase began circulating on TikTok as a part of a joke about extreme feminists. According to Distractify, the phrase stems from a video by YouTuber Jenny McDermott. Right. Okay, this may... okay. But then, I think this is why TikTok should be taken down completely.
Yeah, but originally started as a joke, so... Yeah, I feel like it kind of just spiraled out from there, because some people decided to take it literally and felt like, hey, I'm not a guy. And, you know, I broke up with my boyfriend 2 days ago and I'm feeling absolutely shit, therefore everyone of the same gender as him shall die.
No, kind of thing. Shit all the way. I mean, yeah. That's what if I find a TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's ridiculous if you go to... No, I'll find it on YouTube. It has... black... I will link all the sources to these, right?
Yeah.
Modern...
feminist.
I can't spell today.
But yeah, in my opinion, the current movement is not equality.
But I think he's the same, right?
And here's this
on TikTok.
one of the common arguments made by feminists, especially when it comes to education, is not enough women enter the STEM field. Which, how do I say this? It's not that not enough women are entering the STEM field, it's that not enough women want to enter the STEM field. Because it has been shown that universities have a 2-to-1 preference for women over men. And yet still it's all the men who are getting into universities.
Yeah.
Another good case example is, in some of the Scandinavian countries where gender equality is believed to be, one of, if not the best in the world. And, they're pursuing a policy of equality of, equality of outcome, whatever the fuck it's called. But the thing is that they are allowed to pick whatever career they want. And what has happened is that they picked the careers they want, and it just turns out that the kind of careers that men want to do are vastly different compared to the women. Yeah. Because in Sweden, 20-1 nurses are female to male, but 20-1 engineers are male to female. And the problem with that is that, when you're trying to argue about the wage gap, the simple truth is that they want to work different jobs. And different jobs pay more or less depending on the demand and skill that job needs.
This is why
men tend to be more competitive, they tend to be more aggressive. Not physically, but in negotiations and whatnot, which is an essential skill when you're trying to run a business. And it just happens to be that a successful business will earn you a lot more money than, say, being a nurse. Or
that's why I flip out when especially modern feminists go on about the gender pay gap, because it winds me up, because men are more competitive. It's a known fact, right?
Because the gender pay gap it's either an intentional or unintentional. I don't have any grounds to speak on which one it is, but what I do know is that it's a really big misunderstanding. The only way you can prove that there is a wage gap is if men and women of the same career are getting paid different amounts.
Doing
of the same career, of the same skill level, are getting paid different amounts.
Yeah.
If that is the case, then yes, there's a wage gap. But the wage gap at the moment is focusing on the entire job market across multiple different professions that each pay their own amount and are each dominated by certain genders in certain fields. STEM fields, men tend to dominate it because, more men like it. Whereas, you have stuff like nursing, which women dominate because it's a traditionally female-led role.
Military.
And not to mention that, nursing fits many of the personality traits that many women have, generally speaking. Like, caring, compassionate, empathy.
Yeah.
Normally speaking, and the reason why I say normally speaking is...
Hello? Give me 2 seconds, guys.
Give me a quick sec.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. I just had to tell my brother something.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you censor that when editing.
Don't worry about it.
But here's the thing, right? Where was I again? But yeah, here's the thing, cause simply put, women are more suited to different roles on a very broad, generally speaking, spectrum than males. Because generally speaking, they possess personality traits that are, more caring, more compassionate, less competitive or combative, which makes them great for therapeutic roles or caring roles and whatnot. I say generally speaking because of, because there is a research paper that I want to talk about where if a woman has it, it's much more destructive than something else, So, but yeah, I'll get onto that in a bit. Plus, we were supposed to talk about cancel culture, but we talked about feminism instead.
Yeah. But I think with cancel culture, though, I think it's more more women are doing it rather than, or from what I've seen personally, more women or more of the LGBTQ or any of the extreme. Let's rephrase that. The more extremist groups are doing it, right?
Yeah. And extremist groups does not mean, feminism as a whole or LGBTQ. We're talking about extremist spectrums of those groups.
We're talking about the extremist sides of it. Because you have the good,
not the whole group as a whole.
That's why.
It's not gonna lie, if you say that as a whole, bit gay.
Yeah, the CAM movement as well. With the CAM movement, right? They claim to be feminists, but they're not. Right, that's why they've been given the name feminazis. That's why they've been given those names, because they're not feminists.
Yeah, you can literally Google the term feminazi.
I'll do it on mine.
Yeah, it's defined by Oxford Languages as a radical feminist.
Yeah, I'll even prove it right. I'll prove it right here, guys. So if we go to main very quickly, you can see. Right.
Yeah, by the Oxford I wouldn't say Oxford Dictionary. On my search engine it says Oxford Languages, but the point has been made.
Again,
extreme spectrums of these ideologies tend to be the ones that weaponize cancel culture.
Yeah, indeed.
So, and because I believe that two things that they implement go hand in hand with a third paper that I want to talk about in a bit. So first is mob rule and mob psychology. It's quite self-explanatory. It's the tendency for people to behave, similarly as a group under an overarching opinion.
Yeah.
Of course, there's elements of conformity in it too, but I'll talk about conformity separately in the past. But the reason why I believe mob psychology is important is because cancel culture doesn't work unless you have enough people trying to cancel.
Yeah, which I think it was going to be an issue anyway, with it.
Yeah. You need enough people to actually want to cancel someone in order to cancel someone, which means that regardless of whether you want to cancel someone for good ethical reasons and whatnot, you are using mob psychology and whatnot to cancel them because in order to rally such a large group of people in social media under a single overarching opinion, to do that alone is is mob psychology.
Yeah. I think especially now you're doing psychology for your studies, I think it's going to be very good for this, because from what you've learned so far, there's a lot of issues in society. I think it's not just for not just the feminist movement, but everything about society has gone wrong. Like,
and what I also think happens is in psychology, there's behavioral psychology. You have the behaviorist paradigm, and just behaviorism in general. And they tackle many things like learning and whatnot. You learn about conditioning, classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and whatnot. And what I believe is although to be completely honest, haven't done any research on this, just my own opinion. Feel free to correct me if you want. Give me a quick sec.
Yep.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, but here's another thing, right? Because with behaviorism, you have the idea of conditioning. I'm going to combine three ideas of conditioning in general.
Hi.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. Fixing something up?
Yeah, my dad didn't pack my fucking charger.
I see.
But,
okay.
Okay. Where were we?
So, I was
talking. That's where we were.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was talking about not conformity. I was talking about conditioning. So what I also believed happened is we as a generation in general have become more entitled.
I
this as a result makes us much more likely to act on our own beliefs just because they don't align with our own. Just, to attack someone just because they don't align with our own. Whereas, whereas normally you would have normally when you hear an opinion, what you would want to do in a civil society is listen to the opinion and then, attack not really attack, like debate the opinion, try to deconstruct it, because that's what a good debate is. You are attacking opinions with fact and logic. And if you can't do that, then your opinion probably has some flaws with it. That's been the general consensus for a while.
Yeah.
But because since, people who are on social media, people who participate in cancel culture, I believe that they tend to be more entitled because they aren't willing to consider the other side. They only want to listen to one. They only want to stick to their own bubble. They only want to listen to what they want to hear.
Yeah.
I think that because I believe that they were raised to be more, they were given more things as a child. They weren't taught that sometimes you can't have everything in life. So
yeah, when I grew up, right, I still am, but when I was a lot younger, I wasn't given everything straight away. When I was 5 years old, I didn't even have an iPad.
Yeah.
But you have these 5-year-olds now
who are getting iPads at the age of 2.
and playing Roblox at the age of 7. Dude,
Mm-hmm.
I was playing, what's it called? At 7 years old, all I had was a DS. Nintendo DS.
At 7 years old, all I had was a Beyblade and some toy dinosaurs.
Oh, dude, I love those things. Beyblade.
But yeah.
Brilliant.
The point I'm trying to make is another reason why I feel like cancel culture has become much more prominent is the platforms that it takes place on. That being on the internet, where there are,
Twitter.
Yeah. People aren't as willing. They aren't as willing to actually listen to other people's opinions because it's not something that they want to hear. Whereas, it's very important in a proper debate, in proper politics. I'm saying proper because cancel culture is anything but proper. It's mob psychology taken to, stratospheric levels because of the fact that millions of people can behave under an overarching opinion online. Anonymity plays a big part too, and the fact that there isn't any, and the fact that, all you see is text. There's generally much less feeling given towards people when you're trying to cancel someone, but people in general just aren't as willing to listen to the other side. They aren't as willing to try and deconstruct the other side as much. So, and I feel like, and I feel like that's a problem because cancel culture wields actual power. People lose their livelihoods and their credibility because every time they try to speak out on something, they get harassed. Simply put, they don't have a position in society anymore. They've been removed from society, and the problem with that is when you have people who literally aren't thinking about the consequences of their actions, making decisions that can impact the lives of very prominent people, I feel like that's going to very quickly degenerate our society.
I agree. I'm playing Osu in background, by the way.
Okay.
Well, I will.
So.
Give me 2
So.
seconds. Here you go. Here's Osu for you guys.
But another thing that that really bugs me is that I was reading a paper while doing research for this podcast. It's called "The Tendency for Interpersonal Victimhood," and hold on, let me just check very quick. Let me go to my research. So. Yeah, it's called "The Tendency for Interpersonalhood, the Personality Construct, and its Consequences."
Yeah.
So, given that it's a 32-page psychological paper with 8 different studies in it, in order to prove the validity and reliability of the experiment, I'm just going to oversimplify it.
Yeah, please do.
And I don't use that word liberally, because I highly recommend, if you want to, say, attack our podcast with its opinions, you want to read this paper. Because if you're not, then you're just proving everything that I just said. You aren't willing to listen to the other side. You just want to hear what you want to hear. And so read the research paper, read what it has to say, listen to what we have to say, and then try to attack it using your own fact and logic. Don't do a mindless attack, because by doing that you are proving what I just said to be true.
We're proving everything we're going to explain.
So yeah, so it's called "The Tendency for Interpersonal Victimhood," and generally the tendency for victimization. And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Here, let me just find it. So yeah, over here. So yeah. So the tendency for interpersonal victimhood, right? It's defined in the abstract of the paper as the ongoing feeling that the self is the victim, which is generalized across different relationships, quote unquote.
Which you can find
and
across many social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
The reason why I've picked up this definition is most cancel movements, especially ones targeted towards alleged rapes, is by portraying the self as the victim. And this personality construct has 4 main psychological dimensions. There's the need for recognition, moral elitism, lack of empathy, and rumination. The need for recognition is defined as the subject's motivation to have other people recognize and acknowledge their victimization, as well as empathize with it. Basically saying, "Oh, you poor thing. Oh my god, I feel so sorry for you. I can imagine how that's like. Must be so painful." That kind of sappy ass bullshit. Yeah. And then you have moral elitism, which is the belief, it's the subject's perception of the immaculate morality of the self, the perfect moral, that their morals are all perfect and everything, and that there's no possible attack vector that you can attack it, lest you be immoral. And because of that, it's also moral elitism also has the immorality of the other side as part of the definition of the personality construct.
I think a good example of this is
a good example for this is when people try to cancel each other on racial grounds.
Yes.
Racism is a very tangible subject, which is why whenever you accuse someone of racism, it's automatically assumed by people until they do research that you have the moral high ground.
I can go on for ages. I can speak so much on racism. Not only because it's a touchy subject, but I would like to go into it, but honestly, we were all young.
Yeah.
We don't know shit. We were dumb.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when people are young, they can say things that can be touchy, and can mess up. And the thing with this, right, is so many people, especially in black communities, right, or mainly white people as well, not just black people, not Asian, no one, everyone, but most people say that black people can't be racist. A lot of people say that, and the idea, especially with social media as well, the media makes it sound like only white people are racist.
Black people can't be racist as a joke is acceptable because, you know, you have things like the N-word pass and everything, and those things are, admittedly, personally speaking, very fun concepts to play with. Having someone of a different race give you the permission to say a racial slur, I mean, that's a very entertaining idea to play with, but a joke is all it is. If taken seriously, I believe it's very destructive. Because by saying that one side can't be racist, you're automatically saying that everything that they are saying isn't racist, even when they clearly say things that, you know, are racist. Because racism isn't the oppression of the black people, it's not oppression of Asian people, it's not oppression of Indian people, or, I mean, Indians technically are Asians, but point has been made.
Yeah.
It's the idea that one race is superior to another. It's fascism. That's what racism is. It's not, you know, the oppression of black people. The oppression of black people is the oppression of black people. It's a form of racism. It's not the only racism. Black people can oppress white people.
Yeah, like there's some words which are deemed to be racist towards white people. And I'm not going to say them. I will show them. I won't say them. But I think words like I'm writing this down for context, by the way. But okay, it needs to be heard, right? There's some words which can be deemed as racist towards white people, like this word. Like this word here. Which can be quite bad towards white people.
Yeah.
But and that goes the same for black people as well. If a white man says the N-word to them, that can be deemed as racist, just like this word. Vice versa. But I think
because racism is not the oppression. It's not like, you know, the oppression of one specific race against the other. The example, you know, white people oppressing black people, already being said numerous times already. It's the belief that one race is superior to the other, and thus should deserve more rights than the other.
That's the main thing.
That's racism. It's not, you know, the oppression of black people. It's not the oppression of Asian people. It's the oppression of one race against the other. It's the belief that one race is superior to the other. And the narrative that many people are projecting that, you know, some races can't be racist is destructive, because when many people believe it, you allow people of those races who are racist to say things under the guise of, oh, I'm black so I can't be racist, and have people actually believe them.
But yeah, and that's the thing.
And that's destructive.
Yeah,
that's destabilizing.
That's what happens in cancel culture. Here's the thing with the internet though. Let's say, right, I'm a massive celebrity. Okay, I've been in countless films, etc. I don't care.
Oh, what kind of films, Owen? What kind of films?
Shut up. But let's just say I'm a massive celebrity. I've been in many action films, etc. Comedy films, right? And I say, this person assaulted me.
Yeah.
The internet, and let's say I had like 100 million following, right?
Yeah.
All those
Hypothetically
people,
speaking.
hypothetically, all those people would believe me. Because they're either obsessed with my shows I've been in, and it's like, oh no, there's not. But
yeah.
Then you got even though it could be a complete lie, and people would still believe me. Well,
yeah.
That is the problem with cancel culture. People will believe anything you say. Nowadays,
Yeah.
on social media, anything you put. I think a great example of this, right?
Yeah, people will blindly follow your narrative without doing any prior research.
A good example of this is the Johnny Depp situation, not Macleod. Macleod, he deserved to get cancelled.
Yeah.
A good example of this is the Johnny Depp situation, right? We don't know the full story just yet, but because his ex-wife said he abused me, she was not instantly believed, but now there's been
not the opposite is
prove that there's going to be a court case to prove that she could be lying, which could be quite a damn thing. And because that one woman said he abused me, he assaulted me, he's lost countless jobs, he's lost his home, he had to get a new home for it, he's kicked out probably, knowing the whole situation. I don't know the whole situation just yet, but I've heard from some people, like, he hit her as much as she hit him. That's what some people are saying, right? And yes, I can understand that, right? I think another great example of this is the Dr. Phil incident, where a man, because the woman, his wife or girlfriend, was throwing things at him, instead of running away, he fought back, so he hit her, and now she went to Dr. Phil and things like that. And Dr. Phil says you shouldn't ever hit a woman. And that's another of like, oh, okay, that's very old fashioned, right? You want, so all you feminists out there, good feminists, want equality for all genders, right? You have gotten what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Because we now class as equal to you, right?
And it's very hard to discriminate against genders in places like employment and politics and whatnot.
When it comes to hitting another woman, a man hitting a woman, right? Back in the old days, if a man hit a woman, it'd be in hell, let's say. If it was the other way round, right?
Yeah.
It's fine. Back then. But now, right? We, men, are like, no, I'm not taking any of this shit anymore. So now they fought back. Like, I think people have always said to me, if a woman hits you more than 10 times, you're allowed to fight back. That's what many people have told me. And if you, as long as you have the evidence to prove yourself, can you stop please, and they keep on doing it, and you hit them back, go to the police saying, sorry, but she was doing it to me first. I do agree, right? And there's been so many social media posts on this, right? People are going on equal rights, equal fights. Right, okay.
It's like that scene from Konosuba where I am an advocate for true gender equality.
But I do think that before you hit someone, it doesn't matter what gender you are, you need context behind it. It doesn't matter if you're a woman hitting a man hitting a woman. I don't fucking care. You shouldn't treat another human being that way. Right? If a woman hit a man, right, he should be able to hit her back. If a man hit a woman, she should be able to hit back, right? It's fine, like that, because that's equality. But again, when you have hypocrites, feminists, saying, "Well, he shouldn't have hit her," actually, it's perfect, because you got what you wanted. You wanted equality. You got equality. This is my views personally.
No, I completely agree with that view. A good way of saying that is cancel culture undermines the presumption of innocence, and in extension, rule of law.
Modern feminists, right, say, "Oh, we don't have that. Why aren't we getting treated nicely anymore? Why? Because now you're actually
equal now. You're equal now.
We're now equal. You are now understanding what it was like to be a man."
But here's the thing, right? That you know, you were that thing you were saying about blindly following someone else without any shred of evidence to add credibility to their statement, right?
I think
because that's undermining the presumption of innocence. Because you've probably heard it this million times before. You are innocent until you are proven guilty.
Yes.
And here's the ironic part, right? It's a human right to be innocent until proven guilty. It's a human right.
In America, it's classed as one of the amendments.
It's classed as a human right in a United Nations convention. And here's the thing, right? If a reasonable doubt still remains, you are innocent. And the reason, it's like cancel culture doesn't even acknowledge that such a system exists, to protect people who get falsely accused. It's almost not almost as if it is the fact that cancel culture works on the mechanisms that are in direct contradiction to it.
Yeah.
The presumption of guilt, which is where you're guilty until proven innocent, which is the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. That's that's like textbook example about this in effect. Johnny Depp only managed to regain a shred of his credibility after defending himself tooth and nail, saying that she was just as much an abuser as, if not more, than he was. But at the beginning, everyone was like, "Oh, Amber Heard, oh my God, you poor soul, you got abused by Johnny Depp," even though she said nothing. She gave no evidence to prove that Johnny Depp was actually abusing her.
It's like false allegations of rape.
It is a false allegation.
It is a false
allegation. And you see one of her court trials. There's this guy called Enigma. He's a body language analyst. He takes one look at one of the court trials of Amber Heard speaking and can tell she isn't taking the thing fucking seriously. If you are getting abused, you will take it more seriously. I can guarantee that. Not from personal experience, from a logical standpoint, if you're fighting against an abuser, you will take it much more seriously than, having micro expressions where you are smiling.
That's the thing with psychology nowadays, right? Reading body language has become so easy to read.
It's also because it's so hard to conceal it. Even if you know everything, it's hard to conceal what your mind is thinking.
Yeah, that's the thing with science as well. I think when it comes to false, I can't speak today. False rape allegations especially, right? There's been so many, right?
Yeah.
And not just men's, but also women's lives have been ruined because of false allegations.
Yeah.
Right. I do think I might do research on this right here, right now, quickly. False rape.
Yeah.
Ratio. There we go.
And
So, in a 2010 study of 136 reports of sexual assaults investigated by University Police Department, 8.5 were coded as false reports. 61 did not proceed with any prosecution or disciplinary action. 48 were referred for prosecution or disciplinary action, and 19 contained insufficient information to be coded. According to a 2013 book on forensic victimology, the true percentage remains unknown due to the varying definitions of false accusation. According to Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia.
By en.wikipedia.org. Okay, that aside, I'm pretty sure that all of us can agree that rape is when someone of any gender, doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, it's when you force someone to to fuck with you without their consent. Women do this too. It's not something that only men do.
Yeah, there's been many cases, but only the media report the ones that are made by women.
Yeah, and
that's what
like
fucks it up.
Cause here's the problem with a rape allegation is that, unlike most other things where you're innocent until proven guilty, the social backlash that you will get from having a rape allegation is much more destructive than any other allegation.
Luke,
yeah?
According to the NSVRC, which stands for National
Sex Violence Research Center.
Right. 1 in 5 women in the United States experienced completed or attempted rape during their lifetime. Nearly a quarter of men in the United States experienced some form of contact sexual violence in their lifetime. It is proven here 1 in 5 is less than a quarter.
Here, scroll down a bit more.
Nationwide, 81% of women and 43% of men reported experiencing some form of sexual harassment, and women say men don't get sexually harassed. That is a large fucking number. That's 43 in 100.
And while yes, the statistic for women is higher, it does not invalidate the fact that men do get raped.
Yeah, right.
And that's the problem. It's not, you can't say women get raped, therefore men can't. You can't say men get raped, therefore women can't. Even though women do get raped more often than men, because, I'm not sure why. If I had to take a guess, it's because we tend to be more aggressive physically than women. But that doesn't invalidate the fact that men do get raped.
Yeah, Luke, here, between 2% and 10% are false reports. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's 1 in 10.
False reports. Are false reports. Problem that having a rape allegation will fucking destroy you. It will. That's the problem with a false report is, you can have a false report, but at the end of the day, with most crimes, if you get accused of something, then it's nothing more than an accusation, because it's your word against theirs until they can prove that you did it. The problem with a rape accusation is that usually what happens is your entire livelihood gets destroyed. People don't want to be away, don't want to be near you because they think you're a rapist and whatnot. That hive mind psychology, that stigma of being an alleged rapist, it destroys people. People have committed suicide over it. More men get falsely accused than women.
Yeah. I think it's just
because
I think with it as well,
the
media portrays it, right? This is how the media portrays it, especially in the US.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the UK though, but because you see more in the US because they've got a wider TV range. But in the US, right, the media make it out that men getting raped doesn't matter. But when a woman gets raped, she is...
all of a sudden she is like the, the crown jewel of society.
Yeah, this is in the US, but then again...
Yeah, it's... But here's the thing, false rape allegations are destructive to women too.
Yeah,
They are, because, it's unavoidable that the more false rape allegations that happens, the more likely people are going to take it with a grain of salt. And I believe that to be highly destructive, because the last thing that you want, because, if you, in the event that you do get raped, you do actually get raped, but everybody thinks you're crying wolf, that's not really gonna help you from a psychological standpoint now, is it? But because more and more, false allegations occur, that, many people don't take it seriously anymore, especially men. Because whenever, especially if, if the person has been known to, go out with a lot of people or something like that, and then she accuses someone of rape, and I think it's destructive when the first thing, because of course you want to empathize with a rape victim. Rape is no joke.
Yeah, it's no joke.
But there has to be a middle ground where a person can remain innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But, the rape victim can have the support network that she needs, so that if in the event that she is actually raped, she wouldn't have to, fight through process she wouldn't have to fight through the very often bureaucratic judicial process without any support. But the problem is, when you have false rape allegations, people tend to treat it with a bit more skepticism.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's very destructive for both men and women. It's destructive to society as a whole.
Yeah. I do
especially since the only thing that a woman has to do to destroy a man's life is to say that he raped her. Even if it's an allegation, the woman will get off scot-free.
And vice versa.
And vice versa, because although as it stands right now, I actually wouldn't argue vice versa. I would actually argue it's not vice versa, because men who claim that they get raped they're treated like, like
animals.
People don't take them seriously. Because men who say that they get raped, I believe, are treated like what I just said would happen if we start treating rape victims with more skepticism. They won't take them seriously, and they won't have the support networks that they need in order to fight through the judicial process.
I think when it comes to rape allegations, so I think it can be very, very hard to prove, because unless if it's a finished rape, remember? Right? Do not wash. So you can get as much evidence as you can
Yeah.
And if so, cool. But if there's no evidence to prove you have, you can't.
Yeah, but here's another thing, right? Because rape is usually non-consensual, which means that if you do get raped, there usually is enough evidence to prove it. Because, if you were fighting back, you would easily have enough bruises on your body from fighting back to say, got raped. If you were fighting back the whole time, you might have gotten beaten and everything. You can use bruises across your body as proof. That it's very hard to successfully falsify a rape allegation.
Yeah, then if they...
And of course, there's the classic, like you said, don't wash up, take a swab, and then you'd be able to confirm genetically if you did get raped or not. So.
Yeah, but then you also got to think about if they didn't finish, and it was attempted rape, that would be sexual assault as well. But then you can't prove it because it could just be done as normal assault. Because of no DNA to prove it was rape.
Yeah.
I think it's a very touchy subject. I'm not going to go too much into it.
And there's a lot of law and bureaucracy involved in it, and the closest knowledge that I have to it is psychology, so I'm not going to touch it too much.
Yeah. But I do think it's something which people need to start taking more seriously.
Start taking more seriously in the sense that, when someone's accused, don't destroy their livelihoods, but do make sure to support the victim.
And, I think there should be... This is where I think the justice system's just gone bad. It's just gone, oops, go in, let me go.
Yeah. I think the main problem with, that, what you were saying, justice system being out of control, is because the consequences that come from a rape allegation is by and large outside of the justice system's range of control. The most that the person who's allegedly raped can do to fight back is if they, if it was proven to, or the prosecutors confess that it's a false allegation, to sue them for defamation. That's really the most that they can do, because most of the social consequences that comes from a rape allegation comes outside of a court of law. It's a social consequence. It's a consequence of people knowing that you're an alleged rape victim, but forgetting about a rapist. It's people thinking that you're an alleged rapist, but completely forgetting that there's that, there's the first word, alleged. Haven't been proven yet. Haven't been proven yet. But it's because of that second. It's because people don't listen to the first word in the words alleged rapist that destroys people's livelihoods. It's what makes people spiral into a rabbit hole of depression, self-abuse, and eventually suicide.
Yeah. And I feel bad for the men that have been destroyed and women who've been destroyed, bear in mind.
I have a perfect example of someone who got destroyed. Here, I have it in my history.
Please.
I was searching up Zoe Quinn, right? Here. Zoe Quinn. Yeah, so according to Wikipedia, in August 2019, some guy named Holoka was accused of physical and emotional abuse by Zoe Quinn, whom he had been briefly cohabiting with in Winnipeg in 2012. 4 days after the allegations of abuses were leveled against him, Holoka committed suicide. People have killed themselves over this before.
Yeah, but did she come out and say, it's a false allegation?
Here here, life and career, so...
Because maybe it wasn't a false allegation, he just didn't want to go to jail. But again,
as far as I'm concerned, it's a false allegation because I'm following an ideology of innocent until proven guilty, unlike 99% of the internet mob.
Yeah, actually, let me search up something quickly.
And yeah, briefly cohabiting with the
male to female ratio of suicide rates.
Yeah, so...
Right.
But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not aware of her posting any significant evidence. Plus, if she actually wanted to, actually target him for rape and, get...
Hold on, wait, give me a second. Give it a sec. Hold on.
There's also a thought process involved. Because...
Right.
I would think that if you got raped by someone, the first thing you want to do is to try and get them into prison, not post about it on social media.
Who are you guys looking at this? Look at this, right? A male to female ratio of suicide rates in 2017. The ratios of male to female suicide rates, a ratio greater than 1 indicates suicide rates are higher in men. So, here, this is in China.
Yeah, even in China, a place where they have no rights, men kill themselves more often.
Sadly, in
Ghana.
So there's 10 male suicides for every 1
female suicide.
But in the US, or let's do Britain.
Yeah, because that's where we live. For every 3.4 male suicides, 1 female kills herself. And anyone killing themselves is a bad thing, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that women should be dying more than men.
No.
What I am saying is... What?
Just look so you can see, right?
What I am saying is that it's hard to portray a narrative where... we are having it better than women when we are literally killing ourselves more than women.
People in...
From an analytical standpoint, it's very hard to portray a narrative where you can say men don't have it as hard as us. But the statistics show that we literally kill ourselves more than you do.
Yeah,
of course, there are multiple factors that goes into this, but I have a few. But feminism has already, oversimplified many things. Why can't I?
Luke, they need to update this. We're no longer in Europe. But Ireland is bad. But then again, if you go to 1990,
then we're still killing themselves more often.
We're still, actually, Mexico has more. United States, actually, mental health has gotten better. 2000, it's gotten worse. Then it's died down again. But you can see there's a lot less orange and yellow. Still.
The only places where women are killing themselves more than men are places where they actually have less rights than men. Places that I feel like feminism should really be protesting against. Instead, in the comfort of your own home in a developed society where you can easily, get a job from some man in STEM fields because you have a 2-to-1 preference ratio.
Yeah, this is a 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah. So Pakistan is more equal.
It's about a 1-to-1 ratio. Hey, equality, Owen! Everyone's killing themselves as much in Pakistan. Pakistan equality confirmed.
Again, this is not to be joked about, but again.
Yeah.
But in places like these,
But hey, the idea of feminism being equality is a joke, so I feel like that's justified.
No, especially in the Philippines.
Yeah.
3 or 2.5. Russia, fucking hell. Okay.
Yeah.
Ukraine, that's bad. But again, the main ones is the UK and US because they're the ones we're talking about. But in the UK, that's still bad.
Yeah.
More people, more men are dying of suicide than females, and this is what gets me mad when some people say men's mental health don't matter, they're fine. Excuse me, have you taken a look at this fucking chart?
Yeah.
Have a look. Wake up to reality.
It's hard to portray a narrative. I mean, I'm repeating myself at this point. But it's hard to portray a narrative where we have it better than women when we are killing ourselves more than women.
Let's go to a chart, right? Here you go. United Kingdom has skyrocketed. Japan. Here you go.
Yeah.
So luckily, I mean, actually, I'm not surprised Japan was, they should have showed in 1945. That was skyrocketed. But no, but it has gone down over time, which is a good thing, or especially for the United States. Because Jesus.
It's a good thing that, the ratio is beginning to even out. It means that, or actually now coming to think about it, this chart doesn't have enough detail for us to make an informed opinion, because this graph is just showing a ratio, mind you.
Yeah.
And a ratio can be manipulated by either the value men are killing themselves less or women are killing themselves more.
Exactly.
It's hard to make an informed opinion on this chart from this chart alone. So just putting that out there.
Here you go.
Because both sides of the argument should be considered. Jesus.
Here you go.
Japanese males are killing themselves a lot. I mean, fair enough, because the pressure for them to study is absolutely fucking ludicrous.
But, yeah. So, this is the male suicide rates in United Kingdom.
This is just from 2004, from 1950. So...
It's 2004.
So yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, we would need a chart that, goes up to 2017 like the previous one in order to fully confirm it, because there is that air of uncertainty with the ideas that more recent dates aren't being portrayed. But yeah, it's a pretty consistent trend that we kill ourselves more than women, so...
Which is quite sad in a way. It's sad for both parties, so men and women. But I think when it comes to getting help, women are more likely to seek that help.
Yeah, that is true. That's true.
Men don't really know how to express their emotions because of old society back in like the 1980s. But because of that,
Yeah.
we've always been told, oh, just sugarcoat it.
Hold on. I'm gonna go off topic for a bit, right? But do you remember that time when a bunch of feminists were posting pictures of them drinking cups labeled male tears?
Yes.
And then and then you go to the Urban Dictionary, right? And male tears, according to the Urban Dictionary, is slang for semen. Just going off topic, wanted to put that out there. But a bit of comedic relief is in session, I think. Slang for semen. Someone's sometimes sold as merchandise. Purchased by women to low-key indicate they perform oral sex. Google it, Owen, and show the stream. Or not stream, and show the... whatever it is.
Send me the link.
Okay. Here, let me PM you the link. Okay, since Owen is taking a piss at the moment, I suppose I'll talk a little more about my opinions on cancel culture. Something that I feel like I haven't really been able to mention yet is the idea of conformity in the context of cancel culture. So, I'm gonna start off with, of course, a study performed by some guy named Solomon Ach, German guy, I think, in 1951. And basically, he conducted a study where he had 1 participant and 7 Confederates in a test. In a test, a line was shown, and afterwards the student had to choose the line identical to the one that they saw. The control experiment would have all participants, participating normally. Just saying which line they think is the right line. But the experiment where the independent variable is being controlled had all 7 Confederates answer a wrong answer, because what would happen is the Confederates will intentionally draw the wrong answer. Oh wait, hold on, I'm getting a bit confused. So in the independent variable, all 7 Confederates would draw the wrong answer, even though, technically there's the right answer. The idea behind this is how likely we are to conform to a wrong answer given a social circumstance. The control group, and here are the statistics of this. According to Wikipedia, the control group had an error rate of less than 1%, whereas the actor group saw an error rate of 36.8% due to conformity. To quote the guy himself, the one, the only, Solomon Ach, the fact that intelligent, well-meaning young people are willing to call white black is a matter of concern. The experiment, as well as others, in my opinion, demonstrate very clearly the many ways that our peers can influence the decisions that we make, as well as the innate human desire to conform. I think this is very important in the context of cancel culture as well as social media. Because of our desire to conform, when a movement starts on social media, a good portion of us will abandon all radical thought in the pursuit to conform to a political correctness. Which means cancelling people despite there being little to no objective evidence to prove a legitimate reason to cancel them, and to instead assume the person being cancelled is already guilty. And then in my, because I wasted lots of time, wrote an actual script about this. I then, in an ideal world, or I guess not an ideal, in a planned world, I would have gone on to talk about the presumption of innocence, the fact that it's undermining the fabric of society and everything. And then I talk about the tendency for interpersonal victimhood. But I'm going to just elaborate on that a little more, so with a bit more clarity. Because one of the key values in the rule of law is the presumption of innocence, where a defendant that is accused of a crime is innocent until proven guilty. And in order for a judge or jury to have a successful conviction, the defendant must be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The problem here is that cancel culture does not, at least the mechanisms that it behaves on, and from what I can observe, the patterns that it exhibits, does not acknowledge this to be a legitimate, to exist, for lack of a better term, nor have which doesn't really look good if you are pro cancel culture when the presumption of innocence has been defined as an international human right under the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So, yeah. Another thing that, although I haven't done much research on, was something that I still wanted to talk about, was the fact that a minority on the internet can appear as the majority if they're the only ones talking. The idea behind this is you have a small minority, but that they're very vocal about their opinions. Normally, if you like a content creator, you like the cut of a certain politician's jib. That's an old saying. But yeah, normally under that circumstance, you would follow what they do and probably go on with your day. But there's a very select minority who are very vocal about what they think their people, and they will actually actively post about it on social media. Given that they're the only ones who actually post anything about it, their comments can appear to be the majority. And so many people may be influenced to think that that their opinions is what the greater demographic of their audience thinks, and so will most likely alter either their business model, their online personality, or whatever, to better conform to the demands of the mob. And I don't like this because, given that most of the demands in modern day internet cultures, demands for diversity, demands for, more inclusion and everything, I think that is, I feel like that I've already overused the word degenerate, but it is something that I don't think is very good for stuff like video games or entertainment or even business as a whole. Because when you include diversity just for the sake of diversity, I feel like it creates in video games a watered down experience, and in business settings a lack of skill. So, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents. That's just my 2 cents, but also, and I feel like I may not have elaborated enough on the business sense of things. The idea behind applying for a job is to apply, first you apply for a job, and if the employers think you're skilled enough to meet the demands of the job, they employ you. In an ideal world, that's how job employment will work. You are good, they will hire you. But what I feel like is becoming an increasing problem, especially among startup companies who are trying to look like the big tech overlords that control our society, is that the problem is that sometimes they'll hire people just because for the sake of inclusion, for the sake of having a diversity. And while I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, under some contexts, having diversity is a good thing. Like when you're trying to create a work of art, and you need to have, when you're trying to create a video game that actually has that would actually require diversity, then having a diverse work culture would probably help with that. But what usually happens is you're hiring either unqualified or underqualified people merely for the sake of diversity, quote unquote. And I think that is just I think that when startup companies do that, it's an indication that they'll most likely fail. Because when you start up as a company, you will not be turning a profit for the first few years at least. You're going to be hemorrhaging money faster than a man with Ebola. So it's not a wise business decision to try to attain diversity so early in business, because when your goal is to start reaching a net zero so that you can start making profit instead of bleeding money out of your ass, it's just an indication that they aren't good with their money. You back, Owen?
Hello, yes, I'm back.
Okay.
So I just
Yeah, I just went on a rant about why I think having diversity for the sake of diversity is a bad thing.
Okay.
So yeah.
Hopefully you haven't made them hate
Oh, I've
us.
offended lots of people already. We all have.
Okay.
Yeah. I suppose we should wrap it up. We've been rambling on for about 1.5 hours now, I think.
Yeah, about an hour 15. Yeah, about an hour and a half, roughly.
Yeah. Because we still have the other recordings.
Is what you edit it?
Yeah, sure. You just need to send me the mega file.
Yep. That's cool. Right. Thank you guys for listening.
Okay.
Sorry I have to cut this off, but hopefully in the future we can make them a bit longer. But enjoy.
I mean, to be fair, it was very long, and we went on multiple tangents. We were supposed to talk about cancel culture, but instead covered feminism, we covered gender equality, we covered everything.
I think the next podcast we're going to do is we're going to get a little guest on, and it's going to be the person who's created the image which you currently see on your screens right now, with the penguins and the time wasters. He's also a very good cousin of mine who's trying to start up his Twitch career, so...
I mean, if he's a bad cousin, I'd be a bit concerned.
I think he got a bit of a... Yeah. But yeah, he's a good person. He's starting up his Twitch career, which is good. So if we can try and get him to at least 50 followers, that'll be great. I'll be posting this podcast or a preview of this on my personal channel, and I think I'll try and get the others to do it as well. So Luke, if you would like to do that, and Ron, hopefully he will do that as well. But with this, I'm going to need to make a thumbnail in a bit for this. I'm going to do this.
And you also need to send me the video.
Yes, I'll send you the video in a bit. So thank you guys for watching. Next time we'll be speaking about my friend, my cousin, what he plans on doing, what he's currently doing in order with Twitch, and what made him want to do it, as well as his views.
I'm not criticizing your brother or anything, but my personal opinion is that Twitch is a garbage platform, so... Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Twitch is... It's an okay platform. But my cousin, he's doing well at the moment.
That's good to know.
If we can try and get him a few more followers next time, that'd be great. But yeah, if you did enjoy this, please give this a thumbs up and let us know in the comments what other things you want. Hopefully.
You know, all the other standard YouTube outro shit, like subscribe. For the things that come to mind for me. You need to say it in an overly animated voice, like and subscribe. you need to sound like you're the happiest man alive in a zombie apocalypse, Owen.
Today on Best Friends, please
like and subscribe, or else my army will invade you and chop off your genitals. That kind of thing. Or you can threaten them. That's another consideration that I didn't just thought of. You know,
No.
like the lessons in meme culture where he has big man Tyrone saying, "So like and subscribe," and then he looks straight into the camera with a serious face, or else.
No, we're not threatening anyone, Luke. No.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely not like your hamster would randomly die in the first thing in the morning.
But also
No, that definitely won't happen.
No, we would never do that. Never. We would never do that. Why would we ever do that?
Yeah, never in a million years.
Like,
Hey Owen, did you buy the rat poison yet? Okay, enough jokes. I suppose we should wrap it up so that we can edit.
Leave a like, subscribe, leave us in the comments what next topic we should discuss. And I think that is about it.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say? Next time Ryan will definitely be in this. Right,
Yeah.
he will definitely.
We're going to
I will drag him in here.
Yeah. And like have him shot up on endorphins so that he's excited about it.
And we won't record so late. Some of us
Yeah.
is like, hey guys. My voice being
Yeah,
that
you
way.
can actually scream and go on angry rants and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the next topic we should definitely do is games and things like that.
Mhm.
I think that'll be good.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's for next time. Right. Bye.
Mhm.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, retards.
Yeah, bye retards.